Hi there. This is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about brain volume and impaired cognition. And my references are Diane Goodnow's book, Breaking Alzheimer's, which you may want to read if you can, because it's so scientifically dense. But here's the summary. We've known for about 20 years, Dr. Rosser in the journal Neurology published an article about 20 years ago, which elegantly showed that volumetric MRI scans of your brain showed cognitive decline matched brain volume decline. The smaller the brain, the worse your cognitive decline. So a small brain is bad. The problem is we have assumed for decades that the cardinal features of Alzheimer's are shrunken brain, neurofibrillary tangles, and amyloid plaques. And we were making the assumption that the amyloid plaques and the neurofibrillary tangles were the problem. And if we could fix those, we'd fix Alzheimer's. That turns out to be backwards. And actually, Dr. Goodnow was key to many of the functions of figuring that out. And what's really the problem is that cognitive decline comes first. It's cognitive decline that sets you up for making neurofibrillary tangles, which are in fact, by and large, harmless. What's the sequence? Let me just explain the sequence. To have a brain, to have any neurological function at all, we have to have acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter that is made in your neuron, shipped out to the synapses, and you secrete in little tiny vesicles. And those little tiny vesicles filled with the neurotransmitter to function have to merge with the membrane. So here you can imagine a little vesicle, and that little vesicle has to meet the membrane, and it merges with that membrane and opens up and allows it to be disgorged. It has to happen quickly so that I can speak to you quickly and so that you can hear me quickly. Now, what happens when you don't have enough choline? If you don't have enough choline to make acetylcholine, your brain can't function. You absolutely have to have sufficient acetylcholine, or the nerve doesn't work at all. So the sequence of events happens. If you don't have enough choline and don't reuptake enough choline, if you're short of choline, if you're short of acetylcholine, you can find it. You can find it in the plasmalogen lipids. So plasmalogens are actually key. Plasmalogens are the only lipids in your brain or in your body that can shapeshift. They can change their shape, and that's key to making that merging with the synaptic membrane. But they can also do a couple other key features. They are the most liquid of membrane fats. And that liquidity allows the proteins embedded in your nerves to move rapidly. And they have a vinyl ether bond that allows them to protect the neuron from oxidizing events. So plasmalogens play an incredibly important role. And in fact, that comes first. Now, if you have low plasmalogens, your membrane can't merge quickly. Okay, that means you then don't reuptake, you don't have as much neurotransmitter, so you need more choline. And here's the weak link, the Achilles heel. Your plasmalogens are also made of choline and ethanolamine, which are to some degree interchangeable. So if you don't have enough choline, you can borrow from the choline in a plasmalogen and make more acetylcholine, but now you have less plasmalogen. Less plasmalogen, you don't merge as quickly, you end with less choline, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So decreased cognition is defined as the inability to make choline neurotransmitter And that ends up with decreased ability to merge with the membrane, decreased ability to think, and then bit by bit, you lose a synapse. Now there are 4 quadrillion synapses in your brain, so one synapse doth not cognition trouble make. And in fact, it's probably 50 to 60% of your neurons your synapses have to be lost before you have any inkling of Alzheimer's, at which time your brain has shrunk considerably. So volumetric MRI of your brain is a very useful thing to do. But we know clearly, there's published literature that's showing there's actually volumetric decline precedes cognitive decline, which means that gives you a chance to find and measure your plasmalogens, because plasmalogens are the missing link. So if you can maintain your plasmalogens and if you can maintain your choline, you prevent cognitive decline. So Dr. Goodnow's lab can now measure your plasmalogens, and in his test he can measure your sufficiency of choline and phosphatidylcholine and choline plasmalogen with a DHA molecule, the fish oil molecule that makes it liquid. All of those things you need for healthy cognition. Well, from the famous study down at Rush Presbyterian, we now know that aging people have a certain range of plasmalogens in their blood. What will work for me? Compared to that range, I was about average. I don't want to be average. I have a mother who died of Alzheimer's. I don't want to be her. If I can raise my blood level 1 standard deviation, I'll go from the average of 15 to 20% down to 7%. If I can raise it 2 standard deviations, I can raise it to 2% chance. I can lower my risk of cognitive decline almost 10-fold. And that's the end of Alzheimer's. That's the end of Alzheimer's. Did you get that? It's the cognition that comes first. Then brain volume shrinks. And then you get amyloid plaque and neurofibrillary tangles. You can fix it. Dr. John Whitcomb, brain volume and cognition. Cognition loses first. Thank you.